How's it going, everybody? This is Top Driver. Hope you're having another great day, and welcome back to another video. Alright, it's time for another things that I hate. In this series, I'll talk about all the things in this world, whether or not it's the small things or the big things that really just seem to piss me off. So this series is about all the things that really get me angry and ultimately send me into a flying rage. And for this episode, I'm going to be talking about things that get me mad while I'm on the road. Now, obviously, we all know driving can be a little bit hectic, but still, there are some things that some drivers have to deal with, like me, that really just seem to send them over the edge. I'm no different from those people, and these are just some of the few things that manage to tick me off. Obviously, the first thing is about that first car. Now, obviously, we all want to have that real luxurious car, obviously, whether it's like a Rolls Royce or a Mercedes or a BMW or something like that. You know, that's the kind of car that we usually always want whenever we're gifted our first car for like a birthday or whenever we move out, something like that. But man, the real first car that we end up getting, sometimes it just turns out to be a real big disappointment. But obviously it's your first car. Chances are your parents are just going to give it to you through what they already have in the garage, and you just got to learn to deal with it until you move out and ultimately you have enough money to get your own car. But man, the real disappointment that you end up feeling when the car of your dreams ends up not turning out to be the way you thought it was, man, it can tend to be really disappointing. Most of the time it's a clunker sometimes. It may be a car that might have some slight dents on it, or maybe a car that has a lot more mileage on it than it should. Hey, trust me, maybe it even breaks down quite a bit on the road and you have to stop multiple times just to be able to open the hood up and try to fix the thing. I mean, trust me, those are the things in a first car that you really do not want, but sometimes it's just unavoidable. Yeah, I know, we really want a real fun first car, obviously, something that's really on the top of my mind and something that is really luxurious. However, unfortunately, that's not reality sometimes, and sometimes it just makes you feel like that you just got ripped off, and I just hate that. Then there are days when you actually do get on the road, and sometimes whenever you are on there, like in the big cities or something like that, for some reason, there are just way too many potholes on the streets sometimes. And I say that because like in Newark, whenever I'm driving to work and back, for some reason, whenever there's like one pothole that's there, usually once it gets cleared up, another pothole opens up right away. And that's not just that city. Sometimes it also happens in Philadelphia, the 2 times that I've been there. It also happens quite a bit in New York City, and I'm pretty sure it happens in multiple other cities as well. Maybe even Jersey City, the times that I've been there too. Potholes are everywhere. I mean, does everybody in road construction understand that those potholes, no matter how big or how small they are, can really damage the internal parts of the car, or maybe even cut a tire and really cause a whole lot of damage to your car? Trust me, that's a sky-high repair bill that a driver is going to have to deal with, all because that pothole exists and it hasn't been fixed whatsoever. I ran into quite a bit of those, and I'm lucky that it hasn't done much worse damage than it did, but trust me, those potholes, they are a real pain in the ass to deal with sometimes, and I just hate that. But another thing that's a real pain sometimes, jaywalking. Now, obviously, if you don't know what that is, jaywalking is when one guy usually ends up going right on the streets in the middle of heavy traffic to risk their lives to try to get to the other side of the street. Or sometimes they end up doing something really stupid in the middle of it that causes a whole lot of unnecessary attention. And trust me, that happens quite a bit whenever I'm in the city of Newark. Usually, whenever I'm driving to there for work and back, sometimes there'll usually be like 1 or 2 guys that were literally just go right up on the street and try to zoom right past me and literally to the other side of the road while I'm literally still on the throttle, and whenever it's literally right in the middle of heavy traffic. I don't understand why people do this in a heavy city like this. You know you're going to get yourself killed, right? Okay, yes, necessarily, I do this as well. However, it's mostly once traffic is mostly clear and there's nobody that's really expected to come for another few seconds or something like that. So usually I do it the safe way, but still, jaywalking is a real serious offense, and risking your life to do something stupid on the street is just not okay whatsoever. Unfortunately, this happens way too often, and I don't know how you can really fix stupid in something like this. However, sometimes it's just a real pain in the ass to deal with, and trust me, the last thing you want is for somebody to get up on the street and you had no idea that they're right in front of you because they're doing something stupid, and the next thing you know, roadkill. I just hate that. Then there are days where you might be really low on fuel, and sometimes you just really need to find the nearest gas station there is. The problem is, you're literally like on a highway where literally there's just a bunch of open road, and literally there's just no gas station nearby ahead of you for like several hours or miles or something like that. And then when you finally do arrive at a gas station, the prices for that is a lot more than it really should be. Usually your price range would be somewhere in between $2.50 or $3 or something like that. However, the gas station you find, it could be like way more than that, like, I don't know, $4 or something like that. That is just absolutely ridiculous sometimes. Now obviously, gas prices are supposed to rise during this time of year. Usually this is when demand rises at the most. However, still, the last thing you want is to be low on fuel and to have to find a nearby gas station where the prices are much bigger than it should be, and because of that, you get less fuel than you should, and that puts you right back in the same situation literally an hour or two later. I mean, granted, you will be lucky to find a Dunkin' Donuts or two maybe in there, maybe munch on something while you're fueling up, but still, you really need to have a lot of gas in that tank for those long road trips. And when you don't have that, the last thing you want to do is be on the curb asking for a tow truck. And I just hate that. Then there are days where you are stuck in real heavy traffic sometimes, and because of that, there's really no reason as to why sometimes. There could be like heavy construction that's going on in there. Usually that's pretty understandable, but sometimes there may be something that's going on that was not planned, like really a protest or a parade or something like that, and it just leads the traffic to be at a standstill. Or maybe sometimes there's just a bunch of guys that are in traffic that just have no idea what the heck that they're doing, and they're just causing a real big mess as a result of that, and because of that, you're just stuck right behind them, having to honk your horn to tell them to move, and yet they have no idea that you're even right behind them, and because of that, you may end up missing work or maybe even some sort of big plans that you have dealt with for that day, all because of that traffic right in front of you. I mean, it's a shame. I mean, there are a lot of people that are trying to get to work and back, and a lot of people that have to get to where they need to go to, but hey, traffic should not be this big of an issue. If you're stuck in traffic for that long, where you're literally at a standstill for that long, clearly you're not having a very good day. And obviously we could be a lot better in regards to that, but the one thing that can really trigger as a result of that is road rage. And trust me, standstill traffic, that can be a very easy cause for that, and I just hate that. Speaking of road rage, hey, I really hate that some guys, for some apparent reason, would do something really idiotic whenever they are behind the wheel that really causes like an accident or something like that, all because they're having a meltdown for something like that. I mean, trust me, it's just weird sometimes how these things go. Like literally, things can be going fine in your day, and then maybe there's just something that happens, that maybe like a close call between you and another driver. Hey, it's fine, no contact, you let that go. But for some reason, that guy feels like that he is just so pissed off over that he decides to just use his car as a weapon and take you out for no apparent reason. Where are the cops in that situation, folks? I don't know, man. I mean, unnecessary road rage is just completely wrong in these situations, and with no apparent reason, even for some of the slightest things, some guys behind the wheel can really just lose their temper as a result of these situations, and it can lead to situations where guys can really get hurt or really end up being killed all because of that, and I just don't want to end up being in a situation like that. Now granted, minor road rage is fine as long as it doesn't involve an accident or something like that, but still, those kinds of road rages, when it gets taken very far, trust me, it can turn ugly real fast, and the last thing I want to be in is in a hospital bed as a result of that, and I just hate that. Let's say you're on the road, obviously, and you're traveling around, and you really want to listen to something good. However, for some reason, all of the stations that are on the radio are literally in commercial, and then that one station that actually has music playing is the station that you do not want to listen to at all. Until I got my FM transmitter, that was me quite a bit. I would usually turn the radio on and usually would just switch channels because all of the stations, including my preferred ones, are on commercial, and then that one station that does not have commercials on is a station with country music, and oh man, I just hate country music. I can tell you right now, it is my least favorite genre. You can thank my mom for that, unfortunately. It is her favorite genre, and she would blast out on the radio, and trust me, I just got irritated with that very easily, but still, obviously, it's the same thing will go for talk shows. You want to find a favorite talk show, and then the one that you ultimately end up finding does not have the one that you're preferring, or maybe even sports talk, obviously. It's just unnecessary, because really, you just want to find something good while you're traveling on the road, and unfortunately, none of it is really on because of so many commercials, and that one station that's on, you just don't want to have it on. I mean, the only thing that you can really do to solve your issue is to really have that FM transmitter with you and just put your Spotify and stuff like that, and thank goodness I have that, because trust me, the last thing I want to do is have to listen to country music radio because it is the one station that I did not want to hear, and I just hate that. Finally, there is driving at night, and trust me, there are some really scary things that can happen whenever you are driving at night, because usually this is when the time that the most activity happens, and sometimes it is not for the good reasons. Like, let's say that you're driving around at night, and yet because there's like a big real world view that usually you can't see that far ahead, and then sometimes when you finally do see something, it's literally right in front of you, like a guy literally right next to you that all of a sudden walks right into your path. You have no time to react to that, and a bad accident happens. Or maybe sometimes, you know, there's just a big accident right ahead of you because somebody had to stop right in front of you. What are you gonna do in that point? And then sometimes, you know, even weather can interfere in these situations. You know, obviously driving in the rain or in the snow, that can be very, very scary at night. And trust me, I have been in that situation before where I have been driving at night past 1 a.m. in the snow, and I nearly had an accident multiple times because of that. I mean, literally, we should have snowplowers out there clearing the roads literally past midnight, just like they do before then. It's ridiculous that they don't. This is why I prefer driving in the day, so that way I can avoid situations like this. But again, it all depends on what your style of driving is, obviously, especially if you're in the day or in the night. But trust me, in the night, these are the situations where it is the most scariest, and unfortunately, usually you have to be very careful whenever you're driving at night, because there are a lot of bad things that can happen at night. I don't know about you, but night driving can be very, very scary, and unfortunately, sometimes you're just not prepared for the worst situations. Trust me, if I was in that situation, the last thing I would want to do is have to call somebody to get some backup, because unfortunately, a night scare sometimes can literally turn into a nightmare, and I just hate that. Alright, that's gonna do it for this rant. Those are just some of the things that piss me off whenever I'm on the road, but I really want to hear from you. What are some things that you hate whenever you're on the road? Is this the same thing that I talked about, or something really interesting that really ticks you off whenever you are driving around? I really like to hear from you, so feel free to let me know that in the comments below, and I'll be more interested in hearing about them. Anyways, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. As always, if you'd like to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when my latest video is released. Comment below for future suggestions for all my videos, whether it's vlogs, projects, or challenges, you name it. Leave it in the comments below, and I'll do my best to make them. As always, follow me on my social media. All the links are in the description below. That's going to do it for this midweek upload. I hope you're having another great day. As always, I hope to see all of you again in another video very soon. Stay safe on the road, everybody.